Seven present, no absent.
Audit of accounts, I need a motion to pay the bills.
Motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Any questions on the bills this evening? Okay, number 4, resolution authorizing.
You gotta
Oh, I'm
call
sorry.
roll.
Okay, I think we need a roll call.
McAfee,
Aye.
Strable,
Aye.
Brown, Brake,
Aye.
Elliott,
Aye.
Keener,
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, no absent.
Okay, number 4, resolution authorizing the closure of Alton Visitor Center parking lot and surrounding parking lots on 200 Paisaw Street to facilitate the Eagle Ice Festival. I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any questions about it?
What will they be doing?
Ice carving.
Yeah, it is.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
McAfee,
Aye.
Strable,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Brake,
Aye.
Elliott,
Aye.
Keener,
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
7 present. 7 ayes, no nays, no. 7 ayes, no nays, no absent.
Number 5, resolution, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Alton, Illinois, that no ARPA funds shall be expended or encumbered for any purpose without prior approval by the City Council. I need a motion.
Make a motion.
Second.
Is there any questions?
Yeah.
No, you first.
I was going to ask, what is this?
So I crafted the resolution, and the reason I did it for a lot of reasons, but for one reason is, we all got elected to represent our wards and the better of our city, and this just ensures that when we all come to the table, all of our opinions are equal weighted. Not only that, but us discussing it in front of council it ensures accountability and also transparency with the citizens of Alton. So that was my motivation of writing it.
Okay, so that's good that you were motivated to write this. I understand because you're a businessman and you know what you're doing, but I believe, and I didn't read that 100-page document, will not, because I couldn't see myself in it. But I thought that everything that was in there was specifically laid out for us to know what to do, how to do it, when to do it, why to do it, and that would take care of things. So can somebody answer that for me?
Sure. So I'll jump in if that's okay.
Have at it.
So the interim rules lay out exactly what you're talking about, Alderwoman Elliott. And we passed a resolution, this council passed a resolution a few weeks ago that accepted the ARPA funds that were given to the city. And within those rules, the outline of how to spend the funds is there, and then our comptroller would go through and prepare necessary paperwork to ensure that everything that is done with the funds complies with those rules. Now, within the city itself, the city can choose how to implement the procedures to develop the projects and introduce the projects that the ARPA funds will be used for. And I think that's what Alderman Strable, his resolution is designed to be part of the approval process. It can be introduced by a department head. It can be given to corporation counsel, city attorney, to look at the rules and make sure that things are in compliance. The mayor can review them. But ultimately, if this resolution were to pass, city council would have the ultimate say on the moving forward with the expenditures of those funds.
Yeah, I wasn't attempting to be exclusive. I wanted us to be inclusive instead of, one person carry a weight or the loudest person in the room. It was so that we're all in it together, making the decision.
You may have only did one, so but we need to be fair with this, yeah.
So I guess my question is about expended or encumbered. To me, it seems like that would be one of the last steps. Would we not have a plan of exactly what we're doing long before we ever even attempt to expend or encumber?
Certainly, in that circumstance, in the circumstance that you're discussing, and I think Alderman Strable would agree, there would be a process where a department head might have been presented with an idea for how to spend some of those funds. They would craft a project proposal and run it by probably corporation counsel, city attorney, the mayor's office, and the comptroller to ensure that there is compliance with the rules of the act. And once that once that assurances have been given through those departments, it would likely be presented to the council for a resolution to expend the funds for that project.
But what latitude would we have to actually change once we've already had a plan signed off on by the federal government?
Well,
Like if we were to vote down whatever plan is put together, if we were to vote it down, how would we then come back?
the federal government doesn't have any approval of the expenditures of the funds. The city has accepted the funds designated to it under ARPA. And
Right.
with those funds, the city may use those funds how it sees fit, so long as those projects comply with the rules set forth. Now, compliance with the rules is a separate thing from actually spending the money. You can probably come up with many projects that might comply with the rules. It's a matter of whether the city wants to allocate the funds designated to it for that particular project, and that's where I think this resolution would come in.
So if on Monday the administration has a raft of projects that they want to spend ARPA funds on, and they bring it to council, and we say, no, we don't want to do that, as long as we're complying with the rules, we can swap projects in and out as willy-nilly as we see fit?
Well, you wouldn't be able to if this resolution were to pass, because ultimately it would be a requirement of before any ARPA funds are expended, the council approves it. But it would be my belief that before any project comes to council, it would be under the fact that it has already gone through the department head, corporation council, attorney review, and a comptroller review to represent to the council when it is so presented that it does in fact comply with the rules. And if the council sees fit that it's a project that is willing to be undertaken, then at that point it would be subject to approval or disapproval.
I don't see that it changes anything about what we do. Basically, what this does is gives the council a guaranteed shot at looking at it and knowing that it is being done, instead of by some rush or some misunderstanding, it slips through.
This is
now
procedure.
then, we have to know what it's being spent for, because we authorize the payment.
See, I'm concerned about rushing from the other perspective, that if we say no to a project that is ready to go, then we have to rush to put together something, whatever else the council decides. And so I have some experience with this where the council wants to have operational control over the writing of the proposals and things like that, and it can add enormous amounts of time into that application process. So that's what I want to make sure. I totally support full involvement in the deliberative process, but I wonder if there would be a better way of going about that, to where we're actually involved in the thinking about it and the planning about it, as opposed to just blocking the door once the project has already been put together. That's my concern. So
I see.
I would definitely support something where maybe we're required to send one or two people to the meetings or whatever.
Alderman Keener, that actually is one of the reasons that I wrote it, because I'm kind of concerned that we haven't reached out to groups in the community, educated them how ARPA could be used. I would think by this time we'd have a town hall, and so that citizens can take part in this decision-making process. That was one of the factors I took into consideration. I don't want it to be decisions to be made without the citizens in Alton feeling like they're a part of it.
Well, I don't think there's anything stopping us from having a town hall. I think that would be great, but I also, think it would be good to have an idea of here are what we would like to do with the funds. I don't know how productive a town hall would be where we have so many restrictions and requirements and things that are able to be used and not able to be used. We kind of have to do multiple kind of layers of education on that, I think.
I agree. I agree.
Well, I do remember the mayor asking our opinions on that, and I do have monthly meetings, and I've been speaking to my residents, and that's how I came up with my list.
So we good?
Anybody else got questions?
Just regarding this, I think the involvement and the transparency, I'm all good with all that. I would recommend not having the approval process from the council at the very end, because we are talking about hours and hours worth of compliance work that has to be done to make sure it's in compliance. I'd rather have a project, the concept approved, and then the compliance work done, because we could put many hours worth of compliance, and then the council says, oh, no, we don't want that project, which you have that right to do, and that's fine, but it's really wasting a lot of time. And I mean,
I don't know.
literally-
$20 million.
Yeah, and to my point with that, I would think it'd be like a budget meeting. I mean, like if you guys have a concept, I mean, call us in 2 by 2
Yes, that's-
before it even gets that far, and be like make sure that the council would be on board with it instead of like going through, to your point, going through the entire process. But I believe there needs to be oversight. I mean, it's $20 million. I don't know why you wouldn't want it to go through council.
Well, what you just described, we can do that. And that's what I would suggest that we do, is we have those 2 by 2 meetings and get the sentiment of the council ahead of time. But then, like I said, I've dealt with this
The
before.
issue getting passed then.
Well, I would say that, so then why pass it? I guess would be my point. I mean, if we're all,
Sure, nobody pushes anything through the majority of us wouldn't agree with.
That's right. I mean, we're all in our different wards. We all have our own take on where we think the money should be spent. All I'm asking is, all I crafted was something so everyone is equally weighted when we sit down and talk about these things. It's not the loudest person in the room gets it.
so what is the problem that's trying to be solved, though, I guess? That's what I can't understand.
It's just a final check and balance on $20 million that's going to be spent. It could be an incredible game changer for this city.
I totally agree.
I'm just trying to be as careful as possible with the way we use the money. I mean, that's really the motivation behind it.
I just know that, with things like this where you set up this kind of cliff at the very end of a really long and arduous process, it really destroys morale. And, it makes for a very unproductive and inefficient process, is what I would say. And I think that I don't think there's anything stopping us from being involved. So I don't see the need for it.
Okay.
There isn't a time limit on spending this money, from
Yes,
what
there
I
is.
understand.
There-
So it's,
There is.
there is a time limit?
There is.
Okay.
It's
And what
long,
is that
right?
time
It's,
limit?
the funds must be expended by 2026, and 24 has to be allocated.
24 has to be allocated, 26 it has to be spent.
There you go.
4 years or 3 years, basically. I mean, I don't understand what the complaint. It's just a check and balance to make sure that
we
we're
have that.
involved in the spending.
But I'm saying that we already are. And that this creates an unnecessary cliff. And I don't get it.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, you want to call the roll?
McAfee,
Aye.
Strable,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Brake,
Aye.
Elliott,
No.
Keener,
Nope.
Campbell. 5 ayes, 2 nays, 0 absent.
To adjourn.
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Brake,
Say aye. Say aye.
Charlie.
Say aye, Charlie. Say aye.
We're leaving.
aye. Elliott,
Aye.
Aye.
no nays, no absent.
See you Wednesday.